13 years, August 2001 was my professional debut. We were trained in this dungeon right around the corner from the ECW arena. I went and gave him one installment of $800 and followed up with another installment of $500 and tried calling him to see when I started training, and I found that he moved, and I never heard a word from him after that ever again. We used to go to CZW. I seen so many faces in CZW crowds that I work with these days. I was the initial practice dummy for the original Joker driver. We dropped the ring post once, three stories down, and smashed the trash dumpster. The one time he gave us $15 to split as a tag team, and refused to pay me, but he failed to collect the ticket money off me. So Trent would come down, work out. Was Teddy Fine start coming down to school with us. So we had a pretty good family when PW first started the Animal House. Casper, whole point of PW was to put John under. He wanted to bury CZW. Right. And points right at Devin and goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?" Well, you know him. "Who the fuck are you?" "You don't know who I am?" He goes, "Yeah, I know who the fuck you are. You're the bitch that sucked 500 dicks." My PW stint was done as a pity. So I got shit canned from PW. I was a curtain jerker for 3.5 years, and I got paid less than students. And he called me up and said, "As long as I live, you'll never hold another title in PW." We found out we were out drawing CZW, and we were blowing them out of the water with attendance. It kind of felt like a war. He treated everybody like shit. But then when a big situation would arise and some kind of confrontation, he would hide. He wouldn't show up. He would call me and tell me that I'm a worthless piece of shit, that I'll never amount to nothing without him. Because we did CZW, my punishment, or our punishment was, I worked Devin and he was supposed to squash me. Ty was pissed off that we did it. Ty was really pissed off at Dev because he paid him not to do it. And I walk up to Gage. Gage looks at me and goes, "You're fucking done, you motherfucker." You wanted to work hard for the combat zone. That's the way I always felt about CZW. There's no reason why I should get knocked out with a chair shot and woken up with another one. There was a point like I was content about retiring up until I went out to the curtain that night. I was always told by Moxley that I can't come back because that was probably one of the best send-offs he's ever seen. He turned his back on a dude that, opened his arms and asked for help. And not to mention, everything that they donated to PayPal, he fucking kept every penny for. I feel that we can deliver probably one of the best Cage of Deaths that's ever happened. Plus, it's the 15th anniversary. There's no better way that I would ask for it than being there with a group of guys that I trust with my life alone.
This is your chance. I know that oh, okay.
That's it.
He's like, "Well, hey, John Zandig told me to do it." I said, "John Zandig told you to test, does this kid have what it takes, and is he dedicated?" He did not say be ridiculously unsafe. And I think John liked me right off the bat simply because of how dedicated I was to CZW. So I became like one of those sort of stories that he liked to tell, like Shun the Kabuki Kid was, like how he came over from Japan and trained there and like broke down crying because he was so thrilled to train at CZW. Like, Drake has been my traveling partner to Germany, Japan, Mexico, Amsterdam. Should have been England, but I got booted, those fucks. He's a little different, and he rubs people the wrong way sometimes, but I think you guys will get along. If he does return to wrestling, I would love to have a singles match with him. And I was pulling for him, because he's my friend, and I was like, "Oh, I hope he gets away with it." But knowing full well that there's no chance he would get away with it. Like, there was no way this was going to go overlooked. Unless something happened to change my mind, it was in the back of my mind that I was probably going to call that my last show. I think he thinks people are pushing him around, and maybe they are. But I don't mean to be one of these people. But he just he sort of puts up that shield to everyone that approaches him then, and then it's just impossible to work with him on those days. Neither one wants to have this working relationship, and I have to rebuild the bridge that they're both so happy to burn. It's like a double irony, because ironically, his version of positive vibes, as unpositive as it seems to most people, for him is actually pretty positive. I've said before, I think it's the most apt descriptor I can come up with: never crossed the bridge he couldn't burn. And is entirely too willing to do so. I didn't like his personal ethics, and I didn't like his professional ethics, and I didn't like what I saw the company becoming. I knew that I was willing to to take the dangerous stuff. I knew that I was willing to take the bumps, and I knew that he was a very good wrestler.
Smashing them up, so it's not that bad. Well, it's still bad.
Last?
Yeah.
It's the only thing that, the only way I could be physically prepared for this is off an adrenaline rush. It's not like your normal basic match where you can sit there and just go over, you know. I'm gonna give you a little heads up. I'm going into this. It's gonna swing down and smash into me and smash me into that barbed wire cage over there.
These guys are really, really, really gonna end up killing each other.
Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure of the structure. They're still kind of building it in the back. When the crowd was all pumped up before, like when Hero and Dreamer came out, it kind of got like butterflies, and I can't really remember the last time I got butterflies before wrestling events.
I'm in there with guys I trust, so I want them to trust me too.
Okay, how stressful is Cage of Death for you?
And that's with them on. We just started the show with Drew Gulak and Chris Hero. That's a main event anywhere in the goddamn world. You know, and yet we still got a ton of other guys, you know, that could main event anywhere.
I was like, what is he doing here? And then Shawnee was like, he's in your match. I'm like, get the fuck out. No fucking way, man. I was like, this is going to be fucking awesome. It's my first Cage of Death, and like, he's going to be fucking in it.
Not till today when I seen his face walking around, and I was already pumped, and now even more pumped.
Mondo's coming back, and it's funny because ain't nobody gonna see it coming.
No way.
Nobody.
That night, you sitting, you know, back here waiting for your music or whatever, it's like you gotta get in your mindset of like, pretty much like you're walking into your funeral. I don't even have to look at the match. Like, I still remember everything that transpired from the locker room to the ring and afterwards. Like, I still remember so vividly. Like, I remember laying there and not feeling my legs for so many seconds, and, you know, just thinking like, holy shit, like, you know, what am I doing?
Danny Havoc's the toughest guys ever walked into this company. That's Nick Mondo included, that's Zandig included, that's Lobo, that's Wife Beater.
This is my first time Cage of Death. I've watched it, of course, on highlights, because I'm on the downward spiral for my career, but these guys are, you know, on the upswing. Dane Ambrose, he was from CZW. Chris Hero had a time in the developmental system. Right now, there's two guys in WWE having a tryout. You know, you hope the guys, Sami Callihan, who I see the world in, this is where you go out and do it.
It's really strange that it's been 10 years. It doesn't seem that long to me. I couldn't believe it. I think it was 2008 when he started wrestling and sent a picture one day. It was just like, I knew he was going to the CZW school and training and everything, but he sent this picture of his debut, and I couldn't believe it. I sent it to my dad. He took a glance at it and he said, that's not a picture of Roy, that's a picture of you. And so at the end of 2008, I was really considering creating an entirely new character. It was going to be under a hood. It's going to be a nice coming full circle of the story of Rory.
And everybody's on the same page. There's no fucking big giant heads and people fighting over getting shit in. Like, we're all here for the common goal of making the fucking company look good. It's Cage of Death.
This is where we're laying claim to the shit that we want to go through.
I mean, it's the Cage of Death. I'm going to go out there and kill it. You know, he wants to be here just to make sure I pretty much don't die in this match. That's the reason why he's actually here.
Cage of Death for the last 15 years is, to put it in a very appropriate word, iconic to independent wrestling. He asked me, he's like, do you really think people would like it if I came back? And this was probably like 4 years ago, about maybe 5 years ago. And I said very plainly, I was like, listen, man, every day, because of the stunts that you're remembered for, CZW gets new fans. Every day.
Look at this friggin' nut. You're 10 minutes away from the biggest match. This guy's fucking sadistic looking.
I'm very proud of everybody in here.
Especially fucking Rory, dude. You stepped up huge last couple months, dude.
Thanks for giving us the ball, man.
You guys earned it. I didn't give you guys the ball. You guys earned it.
Who is the fourth member? Dave Greco? Is it the Great Blazini?
Yeah, let's talk about...
Is it Steve the Teacher?
We're entering day 2 of the Cage of Death.
Day 2 of Cage of Death. It's 12 o'clock. Thank God for the pretzel, because it has survived me through it.
We just had
2 days of wrestling. It's like a festival.
I'll never forget this moment. It was probably the greatest fucking match of my career. Now for them to be a part of my fucking return and to solidify my comeback meant the world to me. And to be in that fucking match with my best friends in this fucking business, I could never ask for anything more in my career.